Slide jumps, or moon jumps, are an incredibly helpful technique used in It Takes Two speedruns. They give a slightly higher jump with a lot more speed behind it than any other jump, and can be used in nearly every situation that a normal jump can be done. The three main things to look for when using these are as follows. You can't be moving uphill, you have to have enough room for the movement, and you can't be on a texture that doesn't allow you to slide. The entire technique is comprised of entering a sliding state and then jumping out of it. There are a few ways that you can get into this sliding state, each with their own draws and downsides. I'll start by explaining the basics with the simplest form of this technique. Whenever you are moving down a slope, you can hold crouch to slide. Then when you are ready, press jump to jump out of the slide. You want to keep hold of the crouch button all the way through the slide until you press the jump button, or you will stand up and lose all the speed that you've built up. At any point in the slide, including literally just as you have started it, you can jump. Once you jump, you will leave the ground with the last speed you had when sliding. But as soon as you do a double jump or a dash, you will lose all the extra speed, so for the biggest distance, you need to let this first jump carry you as far as it can. You can chain slide jumps together by not releasing crouch when you jump. Obviously this version has the drawback of needing a slope to work, so whilst it is useful, the rest of them are just much more versatile. Speaking of which, sprint slide jump. When you're in a sprinting animation, just like when going down a slope, you can start a slide by holding crouch. This is the fastest method to start a slide jump, but it also gives you the least speed. Even so, it's still super useful, simply due to being able to do this on terrain with barely any space. The main thing to note with this one is that you can't slide in the startup animation of the sprint, so you have to wait around a quarter of a second between starting your sprint and being able to slide. To practice this, you can use almost any flat surface. As long as you keep a lot of speed when you jump, that means you're doing it right. When starting out with slide jumps, the issue a lot of people have is they don't hold crouch until they've jumped, so make sure you don't let that button go too early. The other versions of slide jumps give more speed out of the slide, but this one destroys the rest in how long it takes to perform. So once you have a feel for how to do this version, try doing the slide as early in the sprint as possible. The best in-run trick to practice this on is right at the start of the game in Wake Up Call, in the form of paint can jump, since it's a very small area to work with, and you need to make sure that you're not moving up the sloped surface of the paint can. This makes it a fantastic place to learn and practice this technique. Now that the basics of slide jumps are out of the way, the explanations for the rest of the versions are going to go by a lot faster. Just keep in mind that everything that I've said up to this point is relevant to all versions of slide jumps. Now it's time for dash slide jumps. When you do a dash, you can hold crouch, and then when the animation of your character hits the ground, they will start to slide. You can also do these when landing after doing a dash in the air, but these are a lot less useful and are only used in fringe circumstances. The downside to this version is that you need more room to perform it than the sprint slide jump. This version is likely the most used version throughout almost every chapter, so even though it's the version with the least time to explain in this video, practice this until it becomes automatic to perform. The final version in this video are frog jump slide jumps. Very quickly, a frog jump is what you get when you press jump and dash at the same time. The final version of slide jumps are only slightly more broken than dash slide jumps, but where they can be implemented, they are worth doing so. During a frog jump, you can't ground pound, so that means you can hold crouch throughout a frog jump, and then when you land, you're in a slide. Unfortunately, this version takes the most space to perform, but you get the benefits that you can do it over gaps in the terrain, and it gives you the absolute fastest and farthest jumps from a single regular slide jump. So there you go. Hopefully this video has helped you learn how to do slide jumps and where and when you can implement them. So go out there and have fun.